When Hugh Jackman and Deborra-Lee Furness announced their split in September 2023, the statement was your standard celebrity breakup fare, full of gratitude, love, and kindness.
Deborra-Lee.
Hi, wow.
Nice to meet you.
You're something.
But fast forward a bit, and it seems some of that warm and fuzzy energy has left the chat. Why? Well, Deborra-Lee may have just spilled the tea on her ex's behavior during their marriage with a single Instagram like. Yep, sometimes that's all it takes.
You think I'm going to share that with you all?
It all started when gossip blogger Tasha Lustig dropped a spicy post claiming the reason for Hugh and Deb's divorce wasn't just the usual growing apart story. According to her, Hugh's friendship with his Music Man Broadway co-star Sutton Foster allegedly got a little too friendly, if you catch our drift.
But did you remember when we said that Hugh Jackman was up to no good with Sutton? And everybody was like, no, they're all happily married. They just get on really well.
And Deborra-Lee, she liked this post, literally. Oh, and her close friend Amanda de Cadenet chimed in with a comment saying the claims were on point. Spicy, right? The rumors don't stop there. Lustig claimed that Hugh and Sutton had been secretly involved since 2022, while both were still married. Talk about drama on and off the stage.
I'm having the time of my life playing opposite this guy.
You had to say that, but
yeah,
thank
I
you.
did.
Thank you.
Hugh's divorce from Deborra-Lee was announced in September 2023, and Sutton finalized her split from Ted Griffin in October 2024. Convenient timing? The internet seems to think so, with Lustig suggesting the two have been trying to soft launch their relationship ever since.
These two now have to pull a Hail Mary. They got to create a Disney fairy tale of the ages. They got to make it look like it was worth it. It's got to be reframed and repurposed for PR.
Now, let's rewind. Hugh and Sutton met back in 2021 while rehearsing for The Music Man, where they played, you guessed it, love interests. Fans quickly picked up on their cozy chemistry during promo appearances.
There's something about when two people begin to fall in love, they make each other smile or they make each other laugh.
And by cozy, we mean eyebrow raising. Someone call a body language expert kind of cozy. From red carpet events to backstage moments at the Tonys, their interactions had people wondering, were they acting or was this something more?
It's far too much fun to take it too seriously.
Even Sutton herself couldn't help but gush over Hugh during a Vogue interview in June 2022. She sang his praises, calling him the hardest working man, incredibly kind, and generous, and even admitted, he's now become one of my best friends. With some benefits, I guess.
For some reason, we hang out in my dressing room like before every show and just catch up.
According to Sutton, their connection came as a surprise, and their families had even spent Memorial Day together. Besties? Or something more? Well, her Instagram post from earlier that year might suggest the latter. Captioning two red carpet photos of herself and Hugh, Sutton wrote, "This man, an honor to be by your side. You are the best." Suspicious much?
I can tell you straight up, she makes me laugh so much. It's different every night. I see some people here who have been a bunch and they can attest to it.
Sources have since come forward claiming their relationship was Broadway's worst kept secret. Apparently, plenty of people knew about the affair, but kept quiet because Hugh and Sutton are just so nice. Deb, however, was reportedly the last to know. And learning about the infidelity after 27 years of marriage, that's a devastating blow by any standard.
Marriage really is standing buck naked in front of your partner, warts and all, and going, this is it.
Now, don't worry about Deborra-Lee. Her friends and fans are already predicting her post-divorce glow-up. And honestly, she deserves it.
But Deborah's going to be cool because she's going to have a glow up and she's going to thrive because she don't do no wrong. And Deborah, honey, we're all looking forward to that memoir when the NDA runs out.
Meanwhile, Hugh and Sutton, they're said to be really happy together. But let's be real, happy or not, cheating never looks good on anyone. Right, Hugh?
It's an impossible situation.
This revelation hits even harder when you think about Hugh's own past, being abandoned by his mother as a child. After all the love and challenges he and Deborah have shared, it's tough to imagine things taking this turn. But to really understand Hugh's story, let's take it back to the beginning. Hugh's introduction into life was an unfair one. One day, when Hugh was just 8 years old, he came home from school to find his mother had abandoned him and taken 2 of his older sisters with her. He was the youngest of 5 children growing up in Australia. Young Hugh was confused and felt completely rejected. Growing up, I was scared of the dark. I was scared of heights. It limited me. I hated it, and that contributed to my anger. Getting on stage saved Hugh, and he was able to finally take all of the pain and anger that he felt for so many years and let it all go on stage. Through acting, I'm able to find a level of bliss and peace and calm and joy, and it feels natural. Jackman knew he had found his calling and decided that he was going to perform for the rest of his life. He took classes in musical theater, opera, and dancing, and over the next few years, he performed in several plays and focused on nothing but his studies. After graduating, Hugh took the Australian screens by storm, starring in several TV series, theater productions, and also appeared in 2 films, Paperback Heroes and Erskineville Kings, both released in. For his role as Wace in Erskineville, the actor received a Best Actor nomination from the Australian Film Institute. He didn't take home the award, but he was given an even bigger honor when he was named the Australian Star of 1999. And while all of that was going on, he also managed to find the love of his life and get married. Hugh met Deborra-Lee Furness in 1995 on the set of the Australian TV series Corelli, and for Hugh it was pretty much love at first sight.
She had sunglasses on, and I never forget, she took off her seatbelt and she turned around on the front seat with her knees on the front seat and she put out her hand and took off her sunglasses and said, "Hi, I'm Deborra-Lee Furness."
For the first 2 weeks on set, Deborah made him so nervous that he couldn't even speak to her and hardly made any eye contact. Eventually, the actress asked Hugh if she had done anything to upset him, and he finally admitted that he had a crush on her.
I knew pretty soon in, but it was also my first job. Deb was a leading lady, and I was fully aware this was a cliche and I was probably being ridiculous.
When I met Deb, I knew immediately I was going to marry her. I forced myself to wait 6 months because I thought, maybe it is infatuation. I'm too young to know. I felt a complete trust with her to be exactly who I am. After just a couple of months of dating, Hugh couldn't wait any longer and he proposed to Deborah. They went on to get married less than a year later. The couple were smitten and completely inseparable. Furness is 13 years older than Jackman, and when they married, she was 40.
New Year's resolution was, I'm not dating any actors, and definitely none under 30. Meet my husband.
The couple knew that they wanted to get an immediate start on making their own family. We always wanted kids. I was brought up in a family with 5 kids, 2 were adopted, 3 biological. It was a natural mix to me. Deb felt that way too. Unfortunately, conceiving a child was a lot more difficult for the pair than they thought it would be. Furness underwent several IVF treatments, but the struggle continued. While trying to fall pregnant, the actress suffered 2 miscarriages which left the couple completely distraught and heartbroken.
We struggled, a couple of miscarriages, IVF. It was not easy, it was difficult, particularly on Deb.
They finally came to the decision that they would adopt, bringing home a son, Oscar, in 2000, and daughter Ava just a few years later. Becoming a parent inspired Hugh to reach out to his estranged mother and try and reconnect with her. Hugh and his mother, Grace, had a heart-to-heart, and she confessed to suffering with terrible postnatal depression. Hugh was sympathetic to his mother, and the two went on to work on their relationship. In 2013, Jackman received some shocking news. He was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, a common form of cancer. He had an unusual spot on his nose, and it was only after Deborah convinced him to get it checked out that he decided to go to the doctor. If it hadn't been for Deborah, who knows if Hugh would have even gotten the spot looked at. His wife quite literally saved his life. Over the next few years, Hugh would have to have at least another 5 procedures done to remove new growths. "I go every 3 months for checkups," he said. "It's the new normal for me. My doctor says I'll likely have more, and if that's your cross to bear in life, you should be so lucky." Hugh credited his beautiful wife of over 25 years to being his rock and support through everything that they've undergone. Jackman stated that because they had been married before he hit A-lister status, it had helped their relationship. They knew each other better than anyone else, and they weren't going to let the bright lights of fame deter them from their relationship. They were also able to ground each other, reminding one another where they came from and that their celebrity status wasn't something to interfere with their daily lives.
Together we decide what our priorities are, right, as a couple, as a family.
When they got married, they set out some very specific rules for their relationship. Deborra and Hugh both knew that an acting career comes with a lot of travel, so they knew that they would be facing some time apart in the near or distant future. But they made it one of their rules, not to spend more than 2 weeks apart. Another one of their rules was that they never went to sleep if they were upset with one another. We never go to bed on a crossword. Sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but we kind of work it out before we go to sleep. The couple had also promised to one another that family always comes first. Career is never to come before their personal relationships. They were completely honest with one another, and they were a constant support to one another too. They made sure to spend as much quality time together as they could. Zerania made sure to never miss any birthdays or anniversaries. The devoted husband even created an Instagram hashtag for his darling wife, My Debs, which he used very often to share all their special moments together. And that was not the only place he shared his love for Deborra. Even when he was at red carpet events and she was not by his side, he'd walk out and put his hand on his heart, and then he'd always look at his wife in the audience. Straight afterwards, I will not see anybody in my dressing room until Deb's been in, because that is my foundation. That is the rock. That is the foundation of our family, and therefore, my life. But as heartfelt as all this was, it ultimately wasn't enough to save the marriage. So, what's your take on all this drama? Do you think Hugh really cheated? Or could it all just be a wild coincidence? Let me know your thoughts.